What time are we on? Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. So it could happen today, guys. It really could. Ladies and gentlemen, we may wake up in the morning with evidence that extraterrestrial life has been visiting Earth. Aliens are real, and that will change the world forever. No, this is not me speculating. No, this is not my analysis. This is what is out on the internet right now. It looks like today, literally the 8th of I don't even know, the 8th of May, I forgot what month it was. Literally today, the 8th of May, we could have full UFO disclosure from the United States. So before I get into this, like any of these UAP videos, right, guys, I need to caveat this. Each and every one of them, I need to caveat this. I'm not sitting here saying, yep, aliens are 100% real, because I'm not convinced they are. I've not seen any evidence that says to me that they are. I've debunked a lot of this stuff. There's also a lot of stuff I can't debunk. That doesn't mean it's, extraterrestrials coming from another planet. If someone asks me, Sean, do you think there is alien life somewhere out there in the universe? I'm like 100%. It's like a mathematical certainty. Now, the distance between planets means that they just can't get here using in our understanding of physics. It's just futile. So there could be something else happening behind the scenes. Yesterday, I was talking about how these pastors in the United States, religious leaders, are being prepared to give an answer to, to their congregations on what this all means, right? And I straight away, well, not straight away, actually, it was afterwards. I was thinking, I was going back and I was thinking about previous things I've said. And one of the previous things I've said is, I've been looking inwards, actually, and thinking, what evidence would I accept, like me? What would I accept of evidence of extraterrestrial life? And then I've built from that, and I've said, I guess what I accept doesn't really matter. It's what the scientific community would accept. So then I was like, right, okay, and I was thinking, right, okay, so I'm assuming that the scientific community will have got their heads together and said, right, okay, this is what we would accept. This is what we want to see. And then this information came out about these pastors, the religious leaders, to prepare their congregation for. Look, guys, I'm not making this up. If you've not seen this video, it's go and check that video out. It's like, I think it's the last one I did, to prepare your congregation for craft from another world, materials from another world, and reptilian-looking aliens, right? That's what they said. Whether you guys believe that or not, that is what they said, right? So straight away, I was thinking, right, hang on a minute. Let me flip this a minute. Let me flip this script. Let's flip this script now and consider if I was the government, right? If I'm the US government or whatever, and I wanted to release this information, my first thing would be, how do I qualify this information? How do I get someone in here to confirm that this is legit? It needs to be independent, right? So straight away, my first port of call was I would go to international universities, totally independent. I would say, right, okay, Oxford University, Cambridge University, whatever. Send me the head of your physics department and his students. I'll pay for this. United States government are paying for this. Come over. I want you to be there when this release happens, and I want you to look to be there in real time, and look and independently verify these, alleged craft. That would be my first announcement, right? I wouldn't go to the religious leaders. I wouldn't go to the religious leaders. So that kind of flipped me over to the because I've been 50-50 whether this stuff's real or not. I've been 50-50. So that flipped me over to 55, it's fake, and 45, it's real. Still close, but I'm slightly on the it's the fake side. regardless whether it's real or not, the direction of travel, and I've got some videos to share with you guys in a second, the direction of travel to this, it leads to a dark place. So what I've said is, and I'm not going back on it, what I've said is 2025, Epstein files are released. That introduces people to adrenochrome, to harvesting. It introduces people to pizzas, to hot dogs, and to beef jerky, right? 2026, potentially today, guys, potentially today, we get given the information that we are not alone in the universe, and these UAPs, UFOs, transdimensional beings, whatever they are, they've been visiting Earth, right? That's what we get told. 2027, guess what? Yeah, aliens are coming and they want to harvest us. They're going to be here in 2029. Let's prepare, let's fight, and let's mount a defense. I still think that's on the cards. Nothing I've seen says that that is not on the cards. And if you guys have been following me for a while, you guys know what I've said way before any of this came out, before Donald Trump said he was going to give the disclosure, before all these people and these senators were talking about it. I said to you guys, you guys thought I was crazy. I said, listen, guys, if we get some sort of alien disclosure this year, they're coming. That's what I've said. I've said that a long time ago, right? I'm not changing my mind. That is still what I'm thinking. Or we're going to be told that they're coming. So I'm going to give you guys a monologue. I've got a couple of videos. I think I've got 3 videos to share with you guys. If you're listening to this and you think it's all bilge water, that may be true. But why are they doing this then? Why is this coming out, right? So let's just approach this with let's be skeptical. Let's absolutely be skeptical. And let's also approach this with an open mind. Because we are on, I wish they'd have done it on May the 4th. And why couldn't, honestly, for the sake of 4 days, couldn't they have just released it on May the 4th? That would have been better, right? So there's a story that's brewing on both sides of the Atlantic and all over the world now. And I'll share with you guys this video in a minute. US Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna has just said that tomorrow, so she said this yesterday, will be a good day. Why? Because she believes the US government is finally going to release a major batch of UFO files. I'll share this with you guys. And that this time they might actually reveal the existence of aliens or even interdimensional beings. Now, I do think there's credibility to interdimensional beings. I do. I don't think they're people, I don't think these things are coming here in little tin cans. Not a chance. So this Congresswoman, Anna Paulina Luna, who's been leading the push for full declassification, revealed that the military insiders and witnesses she spoke to in classified briefings refused to call them extraterrestrials or aliens. Instead, they're describing them as interdimensional beings, entities that seem to operate outside our normal understanding of time and space. And I do feel this has more credibility now. We're starting to get into, more credible realms. We are, because I don't think people are coming here in like anti-gravity machines, because there's no such thing. She's been very clear. Those were interdimensional beings, and she thinks that distinction is important. So we're not talking about aliens anymore. We are talking about interdimensional beings. So the big question on everybody's lips, minds, and brains right now is, could UFOs and alien exclosure actually happen today? Right now, ladies and gentlemen, today. After years of testimonies, leaked videos, growing pressure, whistleblowers, debunkers, we could be on the edge of something absolutely historic. And this would change, well, you know what, I feel it would change everything, but people might just go, meh. President Donald Trump has ordered the release of these files, and this is expected to drop today, guys. It's expected to drop today. Of course, we've been here before. Many times the hype's led to heavily redacted documents and more questions than answers, and not, and really, just nothing burgers. However, with senior members of US Congress now openly using words like non-human intelligence, interdimensional beings, it does feel different. It does. It absolutely feels different. Whether this turns out to be genuine disclosure or more slow drip revelations or something else entirely, one thing is clear. This conversation is accelerating fast. It's gone from conspiracy nonsense to fringe to mainstream in the space of about 12 months, right? And I always spot these things. I always spot these when they're poking up, through the weeds. Could we, in the next few hours, witness game-changing news on humanity's origins, the nature of the universe, or will this just be another nothing burger? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share the video of her talking about this. I'm then going to come onto the chat and we will, and I've got another video because I've got a darker video to share with you guys as well. And it is dark. So this is what she said. May the 7th, she's saying that tomorrow, like today, obviously May the 8th, is going to be said day. There's even some little thumbnails. There's even some little thumbnails being produced. It's real when there's a thumbnail produced, right? So let's see what she's saying.
I think that Grush, when I had talked to him on whether these were specifically extraterrestrials or alien in origin, he said interdimensional. He refused to use certain terms. And I think that's incredibly important because I think that that's really the question we're all wanting to know, right?
Just stop, everybody, right? Take a deep breath. Think about the gravity of this. Literally, think about the gravity of what she's saying. It may be a lie. And even if it is a lie, why is she saying it? Okay, so Grush said that to her. She believes Grush. Right, where did Grush get the information from? Right, Grush got the... Right, where does this information stem from and why? Are aliens really coming?
And so I'm actually going to have a sit-down conversation with him and ask him to come back and talk to us directly because it seems that we are getting more information from the source than going into a skiff and then not being able to tell you guys what we're talking about.
Is this stuff that we just as humans might not be able to understand if it's interdimensional?
I think that we can understand it. I think that it's just, it's an approach, right? I mean, remember, we just now for the first time in history really had...
Sorry, let me go back. Sorry, I just want to watch her eyes here. Oh, I can't tell. So if you're accessing memory, you look up and right, which would be our left. If you're making something up, you will look up and left. And she looks up, but I can't remember. I can't tell which way she looks. Hang on, let's see if we can work it out.
Right. I mean, remember.
What do you think, guys? Is she looking up and left or up and right? She's definitely accessing something. When people look up, right, when they're talking to you, you go like that. If you go like that and look that way, you're accessing memory. If you go like that, you're accessing fiction and you're making things up. Very difficult to mitigate. It's virtually impossible, especially if you're not trained. I'm assuming she will be trained.
We just now for the first time.
Oh, hang on. She moved at the last second. She's got to tell. I want to play poker against her.
Remember, we just...
Left. She's looking left. She's making it up. She's making it up. I'm not, it's not very convincing. It's not very, okay. What I'm saying is I wouldn't have a high degree of certainty. If somebody was asking me, is she look at her eyes and tell me, is she looking up and left? I would say I have a low degree of certainty, whichever. But if I was to go one way, I would say she was looking straight up, and then when she's about to put her eyes down, she slightly goes left. Doesn't mean that she's making it up. What it means is she may have just accessed or added something or thought about removing something. So it's not definitive.
Just now, for the first time in history, really had Congress have whistleblowers come forward credible that we're telling the entire world that there is something other than human life forms. Grush said that those were interdimensional beings. He refused to use extraterrestrial and alien.
So the direction of travel has now gone from aliens to interdimensional beings. Guys, we could have this disclosure literally within hours. We could have this within hours. Right, I'm going to jump onto the chat. I will then close you guys down on X, and there's another video that I'm going to share, and it is pretty dark, guys. It's pretty dark. There's another video I'm going to share, and it's pretty dark. But let me jump onto the chat first. Clarendon is saying body language analysis now, Sean. No, when I was in the military, I did like some interrogating, and you just get you just get taught things, right? It's called tactical questioning. Uncommon Robin is saying they're so big they look like towers, but they're really just dead giants. What do we? I don't know what we're talking about. Oh, hang on a minute. Sorry, look, hang on. Okay, aliens are not coming. They're already here. Rock and petrified giants and aliens, but we are brainwashed. They're so big they look like towers, but really they're just dead giants. Okay. Kinder is saying it went right when she started speaking. When she's talking about how we should treat interdimensional demons, she looked back to the left and then pivoted back to the interviewer. Yeah, I would say I can't take anything from that, guys. I can't. I'm not sophisticated enough in, as Clarendon is saying, body language. I'm not sophisticated enough to be able to tell definitively one way or another. Pale Rider is saying, yeah, there's octopus in the ocean. That's what they're gonna disclose. Yeah, octopuses are weird, aren't they? All cephalopods, right, are weird. Statement analysis is more effective, I think. Yeah, it really isn't definitive. Like, I just looked up and left. Then I was conscious of myself doing it, and I wasn't. I was just thinking what to say because I was accessing my. I wasn't accessing. Go on. Memory. David is saying, I don't know how I feel. So I don't know. I feel like the government, aliens, are at least working really closely with them. It is crazy, guys. It is. It's absolutely insane. Right, listen, you guys that are watching on X, I'm going to close this down now. Well, I'm not going to close this down. I'm going to close you guys down on X. I've then got a darker video to share with you guys. And this is going back to Jimmy Carter, when Jimmy Carter was president. Something that happened to Jimmy Carter, and I'm going to let this sink in. So I'm going to play the video first, and then I will... I'll play the video first so you guys have got context, and then I will talk about it. But you guys on X, I am going to close you guys down. I am. Please jump over to YouTube because I'm going to continue this stream on YouTube. And we're going to go to a dark place. We are, guys. We're going to go to a dark place. So I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube. I'm the Real Raven 1 on X. And you guys on X are going, unfortunately. Right, so let me get this video up. The next video I'm going to show you is I'll just play it. I'll just play it.
I got.
So this guy, he's the he's one of the guys who's been pushing this UFO disclosure. You guys can see his name there. He's one of the senators, Tim Burchett. What he's saying is, when they told Jimmy Carter the truth about aliens and UFOs, he cried. So let's see how dark this gets.
I don't think Trump knows. I mean, these people have kept this stuff secret. Here's another thing. I was in one meeting, and a guy said, I said, what about the president on this? And he said, the president's on a need-to-know basis. Now, that's a federal employee saying that he or she has information that the president is not allowed to see. And
okay, just for context, that is absolutely how it works. That is absolutely how it works. Like David Lammy, Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer cannot just go and walk into a UK Special Forces base. He's not cleared, right? I can guarantee he's not cleared, right? They will have him waiting at the gate. So just because you are at that top tier of politics doesn't mean the military care, because there are some things that need to be kept secret, right? There absolutely are some things that need to be kept secret, and I 100% agree with that.
I just was aghast, man. I said, that's the kind of crap you see on the Sci-Fi Network or something. Right. But that'd be the title of my book. I mean, that ought to tell you right there that this thing is a cover up. And it's kind of like MK Ultra. I don't think we're going to get they're not going to tell us everything. I really don't. I don't think they're going to give us half of what we should get.
But you think we're going to get something?
I think we'll get something.
Do you know Hal Puthoff? You know Hal Puthoff?
Do what?
Do you know Hal Puthoff?
Okay, just with this guy, Hal Puthoff, right? If you guys can remember that girl, Amy Eskridge, one of the scientists who went to the candy shop, she was saying that Hal Puthoff is like evil. That's what she was saying. She was saying he's evil. So the guy that they're talking about now, he presents it Hal Puthoff. Again, I don't know if this is true. Obviously, I'm just repeating to you guys. I've never met this guy. She could be lying for all I know. But this guy, Hal Puthoff, she mentioned him and she said he's absolutely evil. He presents as this nice old grandpa looking guy, but he's really evil. I don't know whether that's true or not. She could clearly be lying. I don't know. I'm just presenting it to you because they're talking about him.
No,
I don't. Know who he is?
I thought you know how put off you are right now. No. I was like, how put off are you?
Hal Puthoff was in the documentary as well. He was in The Age of Disclosure, and he was a guest on the podcast. And one of the things that he told me is that during the Bush administration, they brought in him and a bunch of other scientists and thought leaders. And what was explained to him was that they are considering disclosure and that there have been visits of these super intelligent beings from somewhere else, that we have retrieved crashed vehicles, and that we have biological remains.
That's correct.
And we are talking about disclosing. We would like you to make a list of all the ways that it'll negatively affect society and all the ways that it'll positively affect society, and attach a numerical value to these things.
This is wild, guys. Honestly, this could be happening today. Literally, we could be having this today, guys, within a matter of hours. Within a matter of hours, this could happen. They're saying it's going to happen today, May the 8th, 2026, the day of disclosure. Where do you go with all this stuff? Where do you go with it?
And they all did it, and every one of them said the negatives far outweigh the positives in terms of the impact on government, the impact on the economy, religion, all these different factors, and how it would disrupt society. And in the end, they decided not to disclose.
Yeah, I've heard that many times. I just don't buy it.
You don't buy it?
I don't buy it. I mean,
I'm okay. So I absolutely agree. Some things need to be kept secret. The dark. I always go down that dark path, guys. I do. I always go down that dark path. I think it's best to assume the worst and hope for the best. The dark path I'm going down is humans are going to be harvested. That's what I'm thinking. The farm theory, right? If we're on a farm, Bob Lazar said this. There's quite a few people been saying this.
I don't doubt what he's saying. I know all those guys. Now that you mentioned it, I was in the movie, of course, and I've met them all afterwards. But I just don't buy that. I think we should know. Let us know. Let us decide.
No, I believe that too. But I wonder what that meeting was like and whether or not they were being truthful to these people or whether it was a thought experiment.
Yes. This is what I keep thinking. If with these religious leaders the other day, right? If you're brought in, right? If you are brought in and the president of the United States sits you down, or whoever, it wasn't the president, it was someone from the government, right? And they sit you down and they say, listen, there's going to be this year, there's going to be a UFO disclosure, right? We're telling you guys this early so you guys can do X, Y, and Z, right? And then you see Donald Trump say that this is going to happen on the news. Those people who you've told, they will believe it. And in their minds, they're telling the truth. So why?
Allegedly, when they told Jimmy Carter, he cried.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? When they told Jimmy Carter, he cried. And Joe heard this too.
Should know. Let us know. Let us decide.
No, I believe that too. But I wonder what that meeting was like and whether or not they were being truthful to these people or whether it was a thought experiment.
Allegedly, when they told Jimmy Carter, he cried.
That's what I heard too.
It was, I won't go into all of it, but I was in a meeting.
What would make him cry?
I don't know. He's a very sensitive guy. But
I understand, but I mean, like, I cried when I saw Old Yeller.
Yeah, I did too. Still cry. But they, he had seen a UFO. He was on a Navy sub, nuclear sub, and I don't know if he saw that when he was on the sub or not. I can't remember.
There's this direction, right, with nuclear, military, UFOs appearing around those things, especially the nuclear aspect.
But here he is. That guy was president of the United States, and
they told him something, and supposedly he cried.
And I was in the meeting, and that was brought up, and the guy that they were trying to trip up gave the date of that meeting, and he said, you can go to the Carter Library and pull up that date, and you'll know there's one person, they omitted their name, which who knows who that was, but they list the meeting and where he was when he got that briefing.
Wow.
So we talk about secrecy, right? And just as a show of hands, what are your comments on this? Because let's just say, let's go down the dark path, right? Let's go down the dark path that, aliens have been coming here and they want to harvest humans, right? And we have absolutely no way of opposing them. We have no way of opposing them. Would you want to know? Would you want to know that, really? What do you think would happen to society if, they said, right, listen, aliens are coming, they're going to harvest. Like, you can pretty much guarantee nobody's going to work in the morning, right? Not one person's going into work in the morning. And you can pretty much guarantee as well, there's going to be an uptick in shovels, picks, and mini diggers being bought, right? Because people are going to be digging the shit in, right? So this is the real world that we live in now, guys. This is the real world that we are living in. We could literally have some sort of UFO, UAP disclosure right now. So this is the story that's been circulating for quite a few years, according, like we just saw the videos then, according to Tim Burchett, when Jimmy Carter was president, he was given a classified briefing on what the government really knew about UFOs. Like he said, that made him cry. Now, Jimmy Carter was he was a deeply committed, deeply religious man, a committed Southern Baptist. However, he'd also had his own UFO sighting in 1969 while governor of Georgia. He and a group witnessed a bright color changing object in the sky he could never explain. So when he ran for president in 76, he made a public promise. If elected, he would release everything the government knew about the UFOs to the American people and to scientists. Now, think about this. Let's connect these dots, right? You've got the president, Jimmy C. When I'm elected, I'm going to release all this information about UFOs. I'm going to do it. It's going to happen. I'm going to sign an executive order. It's going to be done. Okay. Has he won? Yeah. Right. Jimmy, over here, mate. Over here, mate. Yeah. Okay. Right. Sit down. Andy, lock the door. Is it locked? Yeah. Right. All your mobile, well, we would have mobile phones, right? Right. Jimmy, I'm going to give you a brief now on UFOs, UAPs. This is it. This is what they are. And this is how bad it is. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to release that information. You see how dark this gets really quickly? It gets dark, guys. The version that keeps resurfacing says Carter was taken into a classified briefing. When he came out, he was visibly shaken. He put his hands in his head in his hands and wept. For weeks afterwards, those close to him noticed that he was not the same man. So what was he told? The only thing, guys, the only thing that makes sense to me is human harvesting. Let's not pretend that that can't happen. Let's not pretend that sheep in a field let's not pretend that sheep in a field have any idea of what their fate is, right? Those little sheepies running around in that field, they're free as a bird. God, I've got a leg of lamb in the fridge. I don't even want to eat that now. And what was he allegedly told? So we don't know, right? We don't know. We can only look at second-hand and third-hand accounts, and maybe they're accurate, maybe they're not. Maybe he was told that the world's major religions, including Christianity, were not what they think they were. That they were in some way created or influenced by non-human intelligence, programs designed to guide humanity to prevent us from destroying ourselves while these entities conducted their own experiments, potentially grew us for farming, cattle raised like livestock. We've all seen the books, right? The Zecharia Sitchin, 10th Planet, or is it 12th Planet, where humans are gene edited. And we are. Humans have been gene edited. There's no denying that. I don't know if you guys know that. Whether this story is true or not, we have to now take this in light of what's happening today. We have to now take this in light of what's possibly about to be released today, because if, and it is a big if whatever Jimmy Carter was told in that briefing was enough to bring him out and bring him to tears and change, and make him not be the same person for weeks, what could that have been? And why are we being told now? Why are we being told now? The data points that I've got, guys, and I've got no more information than you have. I don't summon, I don't channel from the Zeta Reticuli or whatever it is. I'm looking at the information that I've got in front of me. And the thing that is screaming smack bang in my face is the asteroid Apophis heading towards Earth, making its closest flyby on Friday the 13th of April, 2029. That terrifies me. And all the timings and the dates, they line up. They line up for this act, for this play, for this movie. I'm not saying it's false. I'm certainly not saying it's real. I'm saying I don't know. I'm 55% that it's fake, but I'm still 45% that it's real. Right, let me jump down, guys. Let me jump down and get some comments. what does this button do? He's saying Tories beat 2 reform deserters. Farage made like them, but the public has higher quality control. Okay. David Hennessy is saying, my only thing is when you want to use the smart people, I don't know why they would have took all the smart people first. Spielberg Day of Disclosure. No, we're talking about the actual UFO disclosure. We're talking about the actual UFO disclosure, guys. The actual, we're talking about it could actually be tomorrow. We could have, well, today, sorry, actually, forgot how to talk. We could, they're saying that today in the United States, we could have, and I guess the world, we could have full UFO UAP disclosure, not the movie. Will Raz is saying, if it's what you're saying, Sean, they ain't going to be saying, sorry, folks, but half of you are going to get brain squeeze juiced. No, I don't think so. What I think would happen is, what I think they would say is, right, listen, the aliens are coming. We need to build weapons. We need to come together. We need to, think how drones have taken over, right? And this is wild conspiracy, right? This is wild conspiracy. I've got no evidence for this other than my analytics, right? So there's no denying that the fabrication of unmanned aerial vehicles has gone absolutely stratospheric, right? What better way to bring global production up than to start a war? So you start the war, that makes all the factories start churning the stuff out while your scientists are working on a prototype. And then when the prototype's complete, you say, right, okay, let's stop the wars now. You turn the war button off. And you say, right, we all need to build as many of these as possible. Let's do it. And then everybody's in the factories working. Then you have the alien, the fake alien invasion. Right, I'm jumping to the bottom. Melfistalgia is saying, Sean! Hello, Melfistalgia. Memphistalgia. He's just saying, Sean. KK is saying, so the Greenland movies are real. I may not have seen those Greenland movies. I don't know what they are. They want global unity. I like that one president. Like that one president said, we would need an external force to do that. Yeah, that was Reagan, Ronald Reagan. So Ronald Reagan I think it was 84 after he just. So in 1984, Ronald Reagan, he wanted to build something called the SDI, the Strategic Defense Initiative. They called it the Star Wars Project. Now, that SDI, again, look, guys, all this is fitting into place, right? The SDI was a layer of satellites, obviously in space, that could neutralize and destroy any nuclear warhead that was fired, right? So that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to build a mesh of satellites around the Earth that would zap with lasers any nuclear weapons that were coming up. Now, that SDI project was built in part by British scientists, by a company called Marconi. Now, did you guys know that in the 1980s, 25 Marconi scientists went to the candy shop and they'd all been working on that same project, the SDI, the Star Wars project? Now, if you've got a Star Wars project that can fire lasers down, guess what? You can turn those lasers around and fire them up. So that would also double up as a planetary defense system. And all those scientists died. And that was Ronald Reagan. And he said that when he was talking to the UN, he absolutely did. Right, listen, guys, I am going to close this down. I'm going to close this down. I've got stuff to do. I've got stuff to do. The election results in the United Kingdom are still coming in. Hantavirus is still rife, and now we may be looking at UFO disclosure today in the world. So we may wake up tomorrow morning, ladies and gentlemen. We may wake up tomorrow morning with the world changed forever. I think something dark is coming. I know I do have I'm just looking at the timings. I'm looking at this asteroid. I'm looking at things that have happened with Reagan. I'm looking at these alternate theories. I'm wondering why people could keep this away from us. And let's be honest, you know, do you think, you know, if you guys think that we can't be, if you guys think that we cannot be livestock, do you guys think that sheep know their livestock? And sheep, you know, they live in a little pen, right? They live in a little fenced off pen. They never go outside. Do you think sheep know there are other animals? Do you think a sheep knows that there's a giraffe or any whatever? No, of course not. So let's not think that can't be us. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I will be closing you guys down. I'll be back on very well. Will I be back on soon? I don't think I will. I think I'll be back on later tonight. I will be doing another members only video, guys, and talking about this. But anyway, guys, I will catch you guys later.